The Nintendo Switch is just shy of a month from release, and if you haven't made up your mind yet, you're probably wondering if you should pre-order one or not. The Nintendo Switch is Nintendo's next and potentially last foray into the console market if it doesn't do well. One of its kind, the Switch is a hybrid console and handheld, and probably the most versatile console ever. The Switch releases on the 3rd of March worldwide, and in the UK comes at a rather arguably costly £279.99 and $299.99 in the US. The Switch comes in two variations, which only affects the Joy-Con colours. The standard is a grey version, which you see on screen now, or the red and blue version with a different colour for each Joy-Con. The current setup on screen allows you to play on the go and run for 2 to 6 hours before needing charging, with Zelda Breath of the Wild estimated at around 3 hours. As I said prior, this is the most versatile console ever, with many different playstyles. You can detach the Joy-Cons from the side of the Switch screen and slide them into a controller body to act like a more traditional controller. This configuration you'll most likely use when you have the Switch placed within its dock, which in turn allows you to play it on a big screen TV. If you want a really traditional controller, they've got you covered, as you can purchase a Pro controller which is similar in aesthetic to the Xbox One controller, although it is incredibly pricey. Too pricey really, setting you back as much as £65 in the UK or $70 in the US. However, the option is available if you want such a controller. Lastly, split screen play with friends is more accessible than ever. Each of the Joy-Con controllers can act as a full controller on their own, meaning right at the box you have two functional, albeit slightly less comfortable controllers to use with someone else. In the box included is two wrist straps which can attach to each Joy-Con, adds a bit more comfort and functionality. It's also worth noting the Joy-Cons have Wiimote motion controls and also something called HD Rumble, which is a more advanced rumble allowing you to feel more realistic feedback. Before we start talking about specific games, physical games themselves are on cartridges as opposed to discs, much like the 3DS. Boxes are in a similar shape to the PSP game cases and also similar size. Cartridges are a must for a portable device and also have the benefit of decreased load times compared to discs. The most worrisome aspect about the Switch is the launch lineup. That is not only rather lacking in quantity but also quality. Zelda is the big hitter for the Switch and personally the only reason I believe currently you should purchase one at the moment. The other games are either indie games, have been on another console for a while, or a more casual title. It's also hard to recommend the Switch for just Zelda if you have a Wii U, as the difference between the two are not all that great. The most notable Nintendo exclusive games coming out this year other than Zelda are Mario Odyssey, launching in the winter and no doubt will be a game that will sell very well. Splatoon 2, a game that probably won't sell a huge amount honestly, however the first game was well received and this sequel looks to be shaping up well. Xenoblade 2, releasing in the winter as well as Mario, which you don't know too much about but should be good if the last two installments are to go by. Lastly is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, launching on the 28th of April. Technically a port of Mario Kart 8 from the Wii U, however it comes with new characters and new modes, and because of how popular it is, I see it selling quite well on the Switch. E3 is in June and it's very possible more is coming out by the end of this year, and Nintendo are holding back putting all their announcements out at the moment. Nintendo during their event showed an image of developers and publishers supporting the console, which is great. There is nothing bad about support and there are some great developers on this list, however I think it's important to take it with a pinch of salt at the moment as there are a lot of devs are eager to develop for a new console initially, however that can quickly tail off if a console performs badly. A couple of images have been floating around the interwebs for a few weeks which originated from NeoGAF with a comparison of Dragon Quest Heroes 2 in which we can see the Switch from a technical standpoint doesn't hold up quite as well compared to the PS4 version, missing lighting effects, particle effects and less sharp or detailed textures. Slightly concerning as the Switch needs to stand up with the Xbox One and PS4 to really gain third-party support that the Wii U didn't have. However, this is currently the only comparison image we have to go by so far. It's likely that if you're looking to purchase a Switch that power isn't your main concern and this might not matter to you, however it's worth bearing in mind. Although with its launch lineup it may sound like the Switch isn't in the perfect position at launch, it's in a much better position than the Wii U ever was. For starters, the Wii U was an absolute marketing nightmare, carrying the Wii name with simply a U extension on the end, and unless you were a hardcore gamer like myself, the general consumer had no idea what it was. Most assumed it was a peripheral for the Wii and not a new console. The Switch is far more clear in this regard. It carries no name resemblance to the Wii or Wii U, and its name is quite self-explanatory to its unique selling point. Its launch lineup may look quite sparse, but with Zelda its lineup is much better than the Wii U's. Lastly is the topic of Nintendo Switches Online. This is one of my biggest concerns for the Switch. In the year 2017, Nintendo should be able to produce an online infrastructure that can compete with the Xbox Ones and PS4s. We already know they're doing away with friend codes, but now they're charging for online, the expectations are going to be higher. Nintendo are also adopting the giving out of a game each month like Microsoft and Sony, however you only get one game and lose access to it after the month is over, no matter if you keep it your subscription, which is a poor business model honestly, so I hope they rethink that as time goes on. That's it for today's video. Let me know what you think of the Switch and if you'll be pre-ordering. The next video will be the start of a series for the channel that I hope is well received. Thanks for watching and see you then.